We take a step back to look at some classic American heavy haulage. And in this review, it's 2 for the price of 1. The models are by Heavy Haul Replicas and they come in these outer shipping cartons. And the model numbers are 138F2 and 138E1.
Let's weigh it up.
So we'll start by putting the first box on the weighbridge, and it's nearly 16 ounces, which is 440 grams. But is one box heavier than the other? Let's find out and put the second box on. And praise be, it weighs exactly the same. Despite the warnings, we'll open up using a sharp knife, and if it goes wrong, we'll just make sure to cut our fingers rather than the inside of the carton. With the outer carton open, we can pull out what's inside, and there we see the usual Mack branded box. The 2 models in question are Mack Superliners, and the packaging for both of them is identical other than the identifying labels. More careful knife work is required to cut the tape that joins the 2 trays, and with that done we can lift the lid and see what's inside. And in our first view we can see that this is a red truck, and it's protected by soft paper. In fact, the model is in the colours of the company Tackaberry's. Both models have spare mirrors and also a plastic pointer tool. And there's also a little bit of packaging to remove once the model's out of the box. The 2 models we're looking at are 138E-1 Tackaberry's and 138F-2 green over black.
Let's weigh it up again.
So, out of the boxes, let's check the weight, and it's just over 7 ounces, or just over 200 grams. But what's heavier, green or red? Well, there's only one way to find out. Zero the scales, slap on the green, and we see it weighs the same as the red. Here they are side by side and upside down, and they are pretty much the same. There are soft mud flaps and the full transmission is modelled, and there are very detailed tanks and boxes. The rear axles are also modelled in detail, and there are different tyres, front and rear. Looking at the cabs, and they have similar details on the roof, and that includes the door mirrors. A minute detail is the Mack logos in the air horns. The chromed exhaust stacks look very smart. One difference between the 2 models are the air intakes. Both have great Mack radiators, with the Bulldog on the Tackaberry's version being gold, and it's silver on the green model. The metal mesh radiators are very convincing. Among the differences between the models is the positioning of the wing mirrors, and there are width markers on the green model. There are also differences in the lights, with the chrome bumpers being the same. The Tackaberry's has front mud flaps and also license plates. Looking side on, and the details of the hood and the cab are very sharp, and the wheels and fuel tank look great. The Tackaberry's benefits from some enhanced graphics, and there is some particularly nice lettering on the cab door. There's also some really fine quality graphics on the wheel arches, and the message is clear enough: keep off. Behind the cab there are air lines with connectors, and the Tackaberry version has a half-length wheel arch, and it has a nice textured surface. The wheels also look really good. The green over black version has a full-length wheel arch. Behind the cab there are more absolutely tiny graphics, and there are realistic chains, and the whole rack is a mass of chrome work. The green version also has a light bar on top. Looking at the back, you can see again the difference in the wheel arches, and there are also rear light clusters on the Tackaberry's. The mud flap decoration is different between the 2 models. In terms of the features, we start underneath and there is steering, and it is notched but with a limited range of movement. All of the wheels on the model spin freely, and the suspension is nicely implemented with the rear axles being grouped and a good range of movement at the front. The model rolls well enough, but it's not a heavy model, so it doesn't roll far. With the steering set, the front wheel is fouled on the wheel arch, so you need to apply some downward pressure. However, the suspension certainly works very well with lots of movement, and there's also flexibility at the rear, with the fifth wheel being able to be positioned longitudinally, and the lock is implemented well, and it is spring loaded. The big engine hood tilts fully forward, and that gives you a great view of the detailed engine, and you can see that the front grille is see-through. The engine is also modelled out of many different components. The cab doors can be carefully opened, and there is some great detailing inside, including floor pedals and a very nicely modelled instrument cluster. And here you can see those details more clearly. There's also another feature inside the cab, and that is working air ride seats, so you can bounce up and down if you need to. Let's add some trailers, and the first is a sword dump trailer. And this works very well because the Kingpin is a size that does fit into the fifth wheel. And this model is a nice combination with the Tackaberries. Let's now pair up the green Superliner with a trailer, and this one is a Diecast Masters flatbed. The Kingpin is too fat to fit, but you can still get a very good looking pose. Heavy Haul Replicas has set a high standard for its Mack models, and these two versions of the Mack Superliner continue that standard. They are a great combination of functionality and detail, and it's interesting that there are many differences between the models, not just the colours. So if you're looking for high quality models of classic American haulage, then these two are rated as excellent.